When September Ends by Green Day. It's a really cool picking song, which is going to sound something like this. And the cool thing about this song is we only play it on 3 strings. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on my picking hand first of all, so we can see what the rhythm is doing for this, and we can see which 3 strings we're using, and then we can add the chords afterwards. So I'm going to come a little bit closer here, raise the guitar a bit, got your pick. You can use fingers too. I'm first going to show you with the pick technique, so at least you know what the strings are going to be, and then if you decide to use fingers, I'll show you that technique too. Now we're only playing strings 4, 3 and 2. The chord is in position, so if I took the chord off, your open strings would sound like this. But with the chord. Now we go through that picking sequence twice in a row, so it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No spaces, so be careful that you don't do this. This is wrong. Because it had the gap. It must sound like this. Bit of a different angle. Then there's a tiny gap, and then you go to the next chord. Now on the PDF file I'm sending through with this, you will see at the bottom underneath the chord shapes that there's a bit of a space between the G to the next bar, which is a G with the F sharp. That space is a timing space, and if you put the 2 chords together, you'll have something like this, and you can hear the gap. In fact, I'll say gap out loud. Gap. 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 You got the picking pattern. Now one more time, we're going to use fingers this time. If you decide to use fingers, I would suggest the thumb for the 4th string, point finger for the 3rd string, middle finger for the 2nd string. So slow motion. You're going to have something like this, and I get a nice angle so you can see the strings moving better there. You can see there. And you can hear that gap as well. So you're actually counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The 4 and is that gap. And it's what I'm doing as well is I'm actually resting my pinky on the guitar for location. You can see my pinky over here is actually making contact. Now I'm doing this on the electric guitar, but it sounds just as good, arguably even better on acoustic guitar. So there's no difference. I'm just doing electric because it's thinner and easier to play. Okay, now we're going to focus on what your fretting hand is doing. Now, all the chord shapes are on the bottom of the sheet. I've numbered my fingers to make it easier. Excuse the middle finger. We're going to try and bring him out of space. Normally I put him there, but it looks like he's being played, but he's not. And your first chord, different G, not the normal G, not playing this shape, bad shape, good shape. Okay, we're going to start with finger 1 on the 2nd string. Remember, we're not playing the 1st string, so the one that I'm busy putting down with my thumb here, you can actually imagine that string's not there, and the top 2 we can also imagine aren't there. Finger 1, fret number 3, string number 2. Then you bring the ring finger number 3 onto fret number 5 of the 4th string. Your 3rd string in between here, no finger on there, you can see from the top. It's only fingers 1 and 3. Middle finger's not being used. And if I pick it, you know what to do with the picking hand. It should sound like this. The next chord, G/F sharp, is basically a G chord, different voicing or different shape like we mentioned. But the new bass note isn't G. That note that I'm tapping there with the 3rd finger is G. We're not going to have that. We're going to take the middle finger now onto fret number 4, and this note where the middle finger is tapping is F sharp. So we've got a G chord with a F sharp bass, and it's going to sound like this. Now from the top view, let's put the 2 together, and that gap is actually convenient because not only does it sound cool, it also gives us a bit of time to change from the G to the F sharp bass. nice and easy change. One more time from a different view, a bit more top view. Now the next chord, G with the E bass, we need to move the hand a bit over here. So at speed it's going to go from here to there. Slow motion, what's actually happening? Chord 1, chord 2, G with the F sharp. And then when we go to the G with the E, I use finger 1 on fret number 2 of string 4. Remember, we always count from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the ring finger, not the middle finger, on string 2, fret 3. Now, you could use the middle finger if you wanted to, but I found that the ring finger is a bit more comfortable, and it also sort of resembles a D chord in a way as well. So fingers 1 and 3. And that should sound like this. And the next chord, G with the D bass, is really easy because all we do is simply lose the first finger. Okay, so let's go through the changes slowly. First chord, when you go to G with the F sharp, middle finger takes over. G with the E bass, a bit of a transition over here to fingers 1 and 3. And then for G with the D bass, you simply lift them up. If you put them together, and I'll zoom out now so you can get left and right hand involved, it's going to look and sound something like this. And I'm going to count you in, so if you want to play through with me, depending where you're at, you can give it a go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... Got that. Now the next two chords are going to be a C to a C minor, which is going to have a different way of playing. Normally C, we do it like that, correct? But for this C, we don't need the ring finger because, as we mentioned, we're only playing strings 4, 3, and 2. We're not playing the top two. We're not playing the bottom. So that's your new C for this song. When it goes to C minor, you've got two ways to do it. You can play it like this. Finger 1 and finger 2 on strings 4 and 2 in the first fret. Or if you want to, you can use fingers 2 and 3, whichever you feel more comfortable. And sometimes there is more than one way to play a chord. So we have got a bit of a grey area where it's not always written in stone that it has to be played a certain way. I'm going to go from C from there, and I'm going to switch over to that. And after this, we come back to the first chord, the G again. Okay, let's put the whole thing together slowly, one more time, left and right hand in focus, and I'm going to play through the whole way. Now, very important, notice that at the end, in other words, once you've played through all the chords, we play that last G twice. Are you ready for this? 1, 2, 3, 4, and... And that in essence is the basic song. Now there are obviously a few subtle changes. Like when it goes to the second verse, before it leads from the second verse into the chorus, your last G, you'll notice I've got G with a Roman numeral I, or Roman numeral 1, and then after that we've got G, F sharp again. But the tab at the bottom is slightly different. That gap that we mentioned in the beginning disappears. And that gap, which is the equivalent of 2 beats, is going to be the G with the F sharp. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play G through once, focus a bit more onto the fretting hand here so you can see the movement. And you're going to hear a change into the E minor, which will be just the one finger. If you play 2 fingers because you're used to it, not a big deal, but I would encourage you just to play your E minor like that. Okay, enough talking, more playing. Let's go. G should sound like this. Now remember, the first G has got the gap. Gap. There's the F sharp. Okay, and I actually played an extra note by mistake there. Sorry. Okay, it should go like this. Gap. nice thing over there with the changeover as well is, watch my middle finger over here. Watch how nicely he slides from here to the E minor over there. And from there you go to B minor, C, back to the G with the change, back to E minor, B minor again, C, and you end with D. So what I suggest with this over here is first get good with the verse 1. In other words, first get good with the part that goes through G, G with the F sharp, G with the E, G with the D, C to C minor to G. In other words, first play this the whole way through flawlessly. First get that nice and smooth, and once you've got that, then you can start adding those little variations. And you can hear the gap was gone as a result of the G with the F sharp we demonstrated. Very important, if you have any questions with the song, please do not hesitate to give me a WhatsApp message and say, hi Ian, it's not happening, can you help? For those that are doing lessons, I'd love you to please make a video of yourself recording this until we can actually meet over the desk face to face again. I'd like to see how you're playing it, see the techniques. Be quite nice to sit near the quality in that. And otherwise, have an awesome week and looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.